They say when the language of the Diné has been lost completely, that the end times will be here. Is what they say, that the third world will end at that time when they have no more sacred words and that to speak. Nobody knows the correct use of these sacred phrases. Digan Bazad, Digan Diné Bazad is a word saying the language of the holy people. In our traditional teachings, we're told that the original language that was used by the holy people was the language that was given to the Diné. And there was only one language. So the holy people used that language to organize all things. They organized Mother Earth and all of the different materials of matter and that was out in the universe, just drifting around. The holy people used the sacred language to direct these materials and that to form Mother Earth. And they dressed Mother Earth with the finest of all of the different material that they could find that was out there and available. And so that's why the Mother Earth is in layers. But all of the things that are made of material, the holy people would speak the sacred words to them, and then they would do what the holy people wanted those materials to do. The teaching is that after they had organized Mother Earth, they put all of the life forms on Mother Earth, the vegetation, insect, birds, and animals, and finally their children, which is the Diné. And they allowed the Diné to keep the original language that was used by the holy people. But when they did that, after a period of time, their children began to misuse and abuse and pervert the language. And they were doing all kinds of things with the sacred words and giving instructions to the mountains to move over here or to put huge gouges into the Mother Earth and just doing all kinds of things with these sacred words. And so the holy people counseled together and they said, we can't allow that sacred language to remain with our children. They don't know how to use those sacred words in the proper way. The plan was to take the language away from their children. And so they kind of announced to them, we're going to be taking those languages away from you and we're going to give you different languages to speak. The one group, when they heard this information, they said, let's not lose the language. Let's see if we can ask the holy people to allow us to keep that sacred language. And all of the people that were at that council agreed. And they said to one man, you go and you talk to the holy people for us. And you tell them what we would like to do is we would like to keep the language, and we make our promise that we will not use the words and the sacred words in that in any type of perverted way or to abuse the words. And so this man went the first time to the holy people, and the holy people said, no, you're not going to be allowed to keep the language. And so he came back and told the group, he says that holy people won't let us keep the language. And so they counseled together again, and they said, go back and tell them we would like to keep the language, and we won't use it in any way that is wrong. We will keep it sacred. He went again, and again he was told, no, you cannot keep the language. And then finally the third time again, they counseled, and he went and asked the holy people again and made his request. And again, the holy people said no. So finally the fourth time, he promised. He says, if we are allowed to keep the language, we will speak to the plants, we will speak to the insects, we will speak to the birds, and we will speak to the animals, and we will use the language to speak to all things, the sacred words to encourage them to do what they are placed on the earth to do. And we will use it with great caution and great respect for all life form. And then the holy people said, we will just allow you just to keep a few of the words. In fact, we will just let you use 12 of those sacred phrases, 12 of those sacred phrases. And that's where the teaching among our people in Navajo, they call it, is the way that they tell it. Only 12 words, or phrases actually, were the Diné allowed to keep. And then the other instruction was, you will not be ever allowed to write the language. And all of the language of the Diné will be an unwritten language. And the holy people gave their instructions as to why. And so the Diné said, we will follow your instructions. This will be forever. As long as we live on the surface of Mother Earth, this is what we agree to. So it is that the Diné were given 12 sacred phrases. And Kitat Ha'otzi is very important teaching. It's the way that the weather is governed. It's the way that the seasons of the year are governed. It's the way that the life forms are governed. And it's the way that we use it in the growth and development of our families. And they are contained in sacred prayers and sacred songs and sacred ceremonies. All of these songs and prayers and various portions of ceremonies and that are important to understand those words. The sad thing to say and to pass on as information as to what I have observed and other people have observed is that there are ceremonies that are lost, and songs and prayers of those ceremonies are gone, and some of the ways that the ceremonies were conducted are gone. Even this day, there are songs and prayers missing from some of the ceremonies, and some of the ceremonies itself are chopped short. And now, there are not very many people that even are aware that there are 12 phrases that was left to us as Diné. That's why we are told that we don't have the weather that we used to, and we have forgotten those sacred phrases. That's why that our people are getting so corrupt in the things that they do and how they treat one another. Nobody knows the correct use of these sacred phrases. They go to ceremonies and they just don't pay attention to the words that are said and the songs that are said in these prayers as the ceremonies are being conducted. So little by little, all of this information about Nakitat Ha'otzi is being forgotten. There's not very many people that know them or even know about them. And they understand, the way that life is today. The holy people gave us those certain sacred words. Digin Sad, Digin. We say this language of the Diné is sacred and holy. But why is it that we don't practice the sacredness and the holiness of the words and that our people were given? And we give the wrong interpretation of these words in English, and then we wonder why the language is being lost. They say when the language of the Diné has been lost completely, that the end times will be here. Is what they say, that the third world will end at that time, when they have no more sacred words than that to speak, and the Diné are the keepers of the sacred words. And so the teaching is that the nebazad digin, do digin bezad, digin the nebazad, the language of the Diné is a sacred and holy language, and it is the original language that was used by the holy people. And those are the things that we are told.
Hey, thanks for watching our videos. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our uploads. Also, head over to our website, NavajoTraditionalTeachings.com. Sign up for our email list. Okay.